Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. A few days ago, Aptera released their high-resolution video of the render of their final assembly line. This is the video that they showed to the ambassadors before the fully charged event. And we saw a kind of recording of the screen where it was playing. Raj has it on his channel, and there was a kind of it was a pretty low resolution video, but now we have the full high resolution video from Aptera. I actually reached out to Aptera and asked them if I could get access to this video, and they said that they were going to release it later. So this is when they released it. So I wanted to go over it with everyone and kind of give you my thoughts and ask you what your thoughts are. Um, so let's start with this. Here's the overview of the assembly line, and this to me looks like this is where the battery modules are being made. I think what's going on is these are the battery packs, and as we zoom, they'll zoom in on that. So we're zooming in on it, and I think these are like the batteries as they arrive from their supplier are these batteries in these little containers, and they get loaded onto this, and then these people are loading. I think these are the battery module, like the bottom of the battery module. And they're putting it into this machine, and something's happening in that machine. I don't know what. And then I think this thing slides in this way, and this robot. And it's funny, this thing that says Robotech 370. So I googled that, and I don't think it's a real robot. So I think this is some kind of just stock animation asset that they just put in here. But the batteries come out of the box, the tray that it comes in, and the empty trays end up here, and then these get loaded onto this bottom, and then you see this is the beginning of the module. And so here's the empty trays, and they're getting stacked up here. And then somehow this gets encapsulated, and then this is the module as it goes in. And so here's the module with the sides. And I guess maybe someone's doing some quality control checking here. So I'm wondering, what I don't know is if the battery, like the welding of the tabs and the bus bars and everything are being done here at the final assembly plant, or if they're done elsewhere. It kind of looks like they're being built here. The modules are being built here because there's a lot of floor space dedicated to these modules, and it looks like they're actually being assembled here. Because I think if they were being assembled elsewhere, like you would just have finished modules being loaded into the pack. But it looks like, maybe this is where the welding happens here to the bus bars. And then I didn't know, I couldn't figure out like what the heck were all these things on the sides. I wasn't sure what it is. I asked the guys on our Discord channel, and one of the guys on the Discord channel was like, maybe these are machines to test the integrity of the modules before they're used. And I think that makes the most sense, because then you'd have a bunch of them, and so these would come, they would get loaded, they would get tested, because testing would probably take a little while, and then they get put back on the conveyor belt. So yeah, you guys should come our Discord channel. There's a lot of smart, cool guys to hang out with, and whenever Aptera drops a new video, we always discuss it, and it's a lot of fun to discuss it and pick apart the videos and just hang out and talk about stuff. So yeah, join our Discord channel. All right, so there is this robot that slides back and forth. I think it's loading it onto these things, which presumably are the testing for the modules. And then here's the finished modules. I don't know what's happening here. Probably some like final sealing of the module or something like that. And so there's a long line of modules. And then this is where I think these two robots are meant to be loading the modules into the battery pack. And so here's the aluminum battery pack, and they're getting loaded up. And at this point, they're on the AGVs. So the red Viking AGVs are here, and they're already carrying the battery pack, because this battery pack is probably pretty heavy, um, several hundred pounds at the bare minimum. And so the AGVs are going across. Looks like at this part right here, so let's back up a little bit. This part right here, I think this is where they're putting on the high voltage relays onto here. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but this is where all the high voltage lines to charge it and to send the lines out to the motors and stuff. I think that's what this is. So they're mounting it on there. So then it gets mounted and it swings around here and loops around, and this is station 1. And station 1 is where they're going to put the battery pack and put it to the rear suspension and mount the belly pan to it. So I don't know why they would do the belly pan has to go underneath here, so I would think that you would have done it earlier in the thing before you put the battery pack on there, because now you have to lift the battery pack to put it on there. So, but maybe the belly pan's already on here, because that order doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. So it's probably like mislabeled or something, because you would want the belly pan first and then put the battery pack on top of that. So I think that's already happened. Here you see the rear suspension modules, and these get attached here. All right, we're at station 2, and so you can see here now they're using the body and carbon here. So this is the body and carbon. When they made this render, which was a long time ago, they already knew they were going to switch over to the CPC group, the carbon fiber body. But you can notice that this render is somewhat similar to the CPC group carbon fiber render that we saw in the previous video, but it's not exactly the same because the rear looks a little different. And then this guy is adding the front suspension control arms on there. So the front suspension is being put on. And then this thing loops around. And somehow over here, there's been a lot of changes by the time it gets to here. So by the time you get to here, you see it's not just the control arms. The full front suspension has been put on. So looks like the steering rod has been put on and the sides have been put on. There were no sides on the previous thing. And so station 3 is the harness, the HVAC, and the braking system. And then I couldn't really make out like what this was, but I guess this is the HVAC system. And I don't know how much to read into these renders, because obviously those robots were just like generic assets they put in there. And obviously people are generic assets that they put in here in the 3D rendering software that they're using. And station 4, they're going to put on the interior trim, and you can see the yokes here. It's kind of funny. And here's the dash unit that's been put in, and then obviously they're going to put in the seats and stuff. And you'll see here that this rear looks like the Gamma rear with the exterior deck lid here. And now we're moving to station 5. More HVAC components and more terminal components. Now, I don't know what terminal components means. So you see that there is no front nose cone yet. And station 6 is high voltage and low voltage cables. So this is the low voltage cables are what Yazaki is doing. And I don't know if Yazaki is also doing the high voltage cables, but you know, the cabling happens in station 6. Station 7 is the coolant circuit hoses. So that they're putting the coolant on there. Door, windshield, and deck lid. Okay, so you see that happening. And then here's where the nose cone happens, and the wipers, the hood seal, and the cameras. So yeah, you see the nose cone being put in. So I don't know how structural the nose cone is going to be. I assume it's going to be somewhat structural to help absorb some of the impacts of frontal crashes. But we also don't know if the front nose cone is going to be fiberglass or carbon fiber. I suspect fiberglass. And I don't know how structural it's going to be. but I suspect it will. I would imagine they would have designed it for some structure. Then more exterior panels. So I don't know if like this is where they're gonna put the side panels on, but the side panels have been on in the renders this whole time at station 10. Now station 11, see there's a big change here. It's a little odd. So if you look at this rear is different. And then this was where we suspected maybe this is gamma. But after watching this video, I'm not so sure anymore because it just seems this random change and everything else seems to be looking more like the gamma module. So maybe this is gamma. Again, I think having the hood going all the way back would help make things easier to load. You wouldn't scratch up the back. You wouldn't have to lean as far. And it gives you extra solar cells on there, so which is, I think that's a plus, but we don't know. So deck lid is put on, then it swings around here, and that's the front reception area of the factory. This still looks like the different deck lid. So station 12, this is where they're filling the fluids. So the coolant goes in there. I don't windshield wiper. I don't know what other fluids they're going to put in here, but mainly coolants. I guess there's 3 different coolants maybe that they're using. Now, see, this is back to more of the gamma style. So maybe this is delta. Delta's not going to change too much from gamma. But yeah, there's only 2 stations. So station 11 and station 12 look different than every other station. So do we go by every other station or do we go by station 11 and 12? Because see, this is the finished vehicle, and the finished vehicle looks very much like similar to Gamma. The AGV, the empty AGVs are going back to get more battery modules. And here they are. You know, they're putting it on flatbed trucks. So if they do this, you know, you'd only be able to probably transport 1 or 2 at a time with these flatbed trucks. I don't know if that's their actual plan. But yeah, this will be a beautiful day when you see these things on flatbed trucks. And we're back to the beginning. This is station 1. And so you see the battery pack here and the body and carbon here. And that's that. Now we're kind of we're at the end of the video. And it just kind of cycles again just to see kind of an overview of the So it looks really good. I think that also in that ambassador meeting, Chris Anthony talked about how they have a software that virtually runs the whole production to make sure that you got enough supplies and parts to keep the thing running. So it's a virtual simulation of the assembly line, which he was saying was really good. And Sandy Monroe and everyone who's done a production line said you need to run the production line virtually in software before you do it in real life. And the virtual software actually runs the control of the assembly line when the assembly line is physically running as well, so that it matches up with the simulation. So, you know, this looks great. Looks like a lot of equipment is needed. Like these things look very expensive, and there's a lot of them. And so far, we haven't seen any indication that they physically have these products. I'm hoping that they start buying and building this out physically very soon. But again, like we heard from the VLAM thing, this production is dependent on funding, and I don't. What's unclear now is, are they looking for more funding to build this, or do they have enough funding to build this, and they're looking for more funding to build out at higher capacity? That's what's unclear. All right. Well, I thought it's a beautiful video. It's very looks great, and I hope to see this in the flesh at some point soon. And that'll be an exciting day when these things are actually rolling off assembly lines. And I'm hoping it's soon, but realistically, looks like probably later on next year. Maybe we're a year away from this. I don't know. Okay, well, tell me what you guys think. Did you notice anything else in the videos that we missed? Thanks for watching. Thanks as always to our supporting members. Have a great day, everyone.